Folks, President Trump just pulled what we might call a power move on Senators John Cornyn and Thom Tillis as they continue to resist the appointment of acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. And timing on this issue matters. And with that said, Trump just set the date. He's going to wait these two out. He's going to renominate Todd Blanche on January 3rd of 2027. Now, if you go back to yesterday, the Senate Judiciary postponed its meeting on Blanche. And the AP reported that it's because Cornyn and Tillis opposed the nomination so harshly. Well, there's been multiple theories about why Tillis and Cornyn were rejecting Blanche. There's the IRS story that's been mentioned quite a few times. Others, well, they seem to think that it's because these two just don't like Trump's agenda. Or perhaps, and this is the theory that I have, they're just being used as a blocking mechanism by Senate leadership like Majority Leader Thom to force the media's focus and the public's focus on Todd Blanche and his nomination, rather than the real concern, the country's top priority, the SAVE Act. But look, despite all of this, Trump has made his decision. He put it out in a post. He's refusing to let Cornyn and Tillis turn this delayed nomination into a distraction or a permanent veto. His position is pretty simple. He can keep Blanche in the acting role. He can withdraw the nomination and return for the confirmation after the 3rd. The president still wants Todd Blanche as his AG. And in his Truth Social post yesterday, he called Blanche a star. He defended him. Okay, the important part here is not what he put out in this post. It's the option that he recognized he has. He's attached to it, having no objection to temporarily withdraw the nomination. Because that removes Cornyn and Tillis's, suggestion that they have some leverage here. The president's option is the point of all this. They can delay the confirmation all they want, but they can't use that committee delay by itself to make the president either replace the man he wants running the Justice Department or continue to draw this out as if it's some tool for delay, because they don't want us focused where we need to be focused. Look, Cornyn and Tillis are not operating from the same political position that they had when this Todd Blanche fight started. Cornyn has been primaried by Ken Paxton in Texas. Tillis has announced that he's not going to seek not going to seek re-election. Darn, brain fart. Okay? But the consequences of this, regardless, are the same. Okay? They're going to be leaving. They're not going to be around. And Trump has the calendar. Okay? He has the opportunity to wait this out. Now, they're still going to have Blanche go, to the committee, like I said. He has to go through the Judiciary Committee first, and then the full Senate. But, look, these guys are not going to be around. That's what matters. And look, the reality of this is that a no vote from either Cornyn or Tillis would prevent Blanche advancing to a full Senate confirmation. So that's why the date yesterday mattered. They don't need to defeat Blanche on the Senate floor. They just need to keep him from going to, out of committee to the full Senate. But their power has a limit, okay? Only the confirmation process. And Trump can preserve the day-to-day arrangement and refuse to let the committee deadline become his deadline. Okay? The dispute over these written assurances that Cornyn and Tillis have tied to the settlement of the president's lawsuit against the IRS seems to be what they're griping about. They want these assurances in writing before they let Blanche advance. Their position is that the administration needs to clarify what happens with the settlement and the money that's connected to it. Why it matters to them in the form that they would stop this is kind of ridiculous to me, because it seems like, once again, we have some disgruntled senators trying to enact leverage on our president because they refuse to support his agenda and what he's doing. So I don't know. I want to put this out, get the truth out, because I think it's shade against the SAVE Act. And what we should watch is how Tillis and Cornyn behave after this, because I think this has an opportunity for them to pull some more distraction moves and try to continue to push the focus away from the SAVE Act. We only have 2 days, I think, until they go on recess. But now they don't have this Blanche confirmation in their arsenal anymore. So the question is, are they going to find something else, or are they going to participate? And time will tell. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. So folks, if you want the receipts when this nomination comes back, you want the truth on what's happening in DC and Trump from a guy who actually knows, subscribe. But regardless of the outcome, okay, it's a sad day when this president, who's fought so hard for the country and has a mandate from every one of us by virtue of the election, where we still have 2 Republican senators, all part of a supermajority in Washington, D.C., and they can't move something like a nomination forward. Whether they're fighting for a distraction or fighting on principle, it just shows who these guys really are. And that's the fact at the end of the day. The president is not going to surrender his agenda to people who already have been defeated by him and are on their way out. He doesn't owe them that satisfaction. They think they have leverage, but once again, Trump comes out the victor. He's not going to give them the satisfaction. He's just going to give them a date on the calendar, a date that they're not going to be in office to delay. All right, folks. Till the next one, we will see you soon.